Hey everyone, it's Karen with Yes Please PaperCrafts, and in this video I'm going to be creating a scrapbook layout for the Our Stash What's My Challenge for December. And so for this challenge, it's called the Mask Up Challenge, and you will need to create a layout with photos of someone wearing a mask and use one of the sayings above as your title. So if you're interested in participating in this challenge, I will leave a link in the description below to the Our Stash website where you can find all the information you need to join in. Okay, so when I saw this challenge, I was a little concerned because I have not taken very many pictures this year. And the pictures that I have taken, I didn't take pictures of people wearing a mask. Because when I like to take pictures of people, I want to see their face. I want to see their smile. And so, yeah, I don't have any pictures of anyone in a mask. And so I was out with my mom and my uncle, and we stopped at a restaurant to have lunch. And after we finished eating, I told them, I said, can y'all take a picture? I need a picture for this challenge of someone wearing a mask. And so right outside of the restaurant, we took this picture. This is me and my mom right outside of that restaurant. And that's an awesome restaurant. It was Phil's Marina Cafe in Slidell, Louisiana, and it's a seafood restaurant. It's amazing. But anyway, so we were there and we got this picture. Okay, so then I had to figure out what my title was going to be. And I looked at all of these different sayings. I'm trying to figure out what would suit this picture. And I had a little bit of a challenge here as well because I don't really think masks are cool. There's no boys in the picture. There's no men in the picture. So I thought about it and I thought, well, this would be really cute. This one says, does this mask make my eyes look pretty? Because all you can see is our eyes. And I thought that would be really cute. Now that is a very long title. And so I thought, well, maybe I should make that the focus of this layout and make it a really large element. So what I did was I went into Cricut Design Space and I designed this exact same title using a lot of different fonts. And I also found some eyelashes like this. And I have it kind of here. I took it off the mat. I used a navy cardstock. But I'll just kind of show you like one part of it here. This is the word mask. I used all different fonts. I thought that would look really cool. I also tried to find things that would have some opening behind it so that I can back this with some pattern paper and kind of make it a little bit more interesting. So here you can see this is the word mask, and that's the biggest part of my title. And then here are my eyelashes. So I think this is going to be really cute. It is going to take up a large part of the layout, which sometimes that's nice because if your title takes up that much space and then you have your photo, you don't have much room for anything else. So it makes the design of the layout pretty easy because there's not too many choices as far as how you lay this out on your, on the 12 by 12 page. Okay, so for this challenge, I'm also going to be using some paper that I got from Creative Memories. This is a theme pack that they have. It's called Love Each Other 2. And I guess this was the second theme pack that they came out with for the pandemic. And it has, let me go ahead and take this out so I can show y'all what it looks like. And that's the reason why I decided on the navy cardstock for my title. Because I knew that I was going to be using this paper, which has navy. Okay, so here's what's all included in this design kit. It has one piece of cardstock and then I believe 4 sheets of 12 by 12 double-sided paper and a sheet of stickers here. Okay, so here is this really pretty blue tone-on-tone grid paper, and I think I'm going to use this as a background for my layout. And on the other side are these cut-aparts, and there's 2 of this paper. And then the other paper that's included in this theme pack is this polka dot paper. And also this pretty green. It's like a tone-on-tone green with like wavy lines. And then it also came with this bright yellow cardstock. So this is what I'm going to be using to create this layout. And yeah, I'm super excited about doing this. I think it'll be a fun layout. It'll probably be my only layout with COVID. I just decided that I really didn't want to scrapbook the pandemic or COVID. I know a lot of people did decide that they wanted to do that because they felt like it was a part of 2020 and it's something that's going on in your life and you wanted to document it. But for me, my scrapbooks are happy. I want to record happy memories, and just be able to go back and look through those scrapbooks and be able to just kind of see things that bring me joy. And this year, 2020 and COVID was not one of those things. So I decided to completely leave it out of all my scrapbooks, other than this one layout. So this might be the only layout that I have in 2020 where I have a picture of people wearing masks, and I maybe do some journaling talking about COVID. Okay, so I'm going to quit talking and start scrapping, because y'all know I can't talk and scrap at the same time. And I'm going to speed this up and do a voiceover later to walk you through my process. So let's go ahead and get started. So I thought this layout would be a little bit quicker to put together, but I ran into one problem after another, starting with when I cut out my title with my Cricut, because Cricut decided that it wanted to change the order of the words, and I didn't notice it until after I had cut it out, and it moved my eyelashes down into the middle. And I'm not really sure why it did that, but I do know that Cricut tries to save you space on the mat to preserve your paper and use less paper. But since all of these words were about the same size, I was kind of surprised that it rearranged this. So if I ever do this again in the future, I will definitely in Cricut attach everything together before cutting it out so that it stays in the right order. And so what I went ahead and did is I took just a plain piece of white cardstock, and I cut it out again so that I could use this as a template. And what I'm doing here is I'm applying some removable adhesive. This is from Creative Memories. That adhesive is super awesome, and I really love using it. And usually it's pretty good about being able to put it down and then take it back off your project without ripping your paper. But for some reason, when I applied it here with this cardstock, it either left parts of the cardstock on my background paper, or it ripped the background paper, and I'm not really sure why that happened. But I think anytime you use an adhesive, even if it's a removable adhesive, you do run the risk of tearing your paper. So another thing that made this layout take longer than I expected was that I had to figure out creative ways to cover up all the places on the background that got messed up when I took off the template. And so I did end up doing a few things that I probably wouldn't have done if I wouldn't have had that issue with the background paper getting torn. And sometimes, when you run into a challenge, I actually look at it as an opportunity to do something creative. And I did come up with some things that I probably would have never done had I not had that problem. Okay, so now that I have my title laid out, I'm going to start gluing it down, and I started out using a liquid glue. This is the Barely Art Glue, and I love this glue, but as soon as I went to put this down, I thought that maybe this wasn't such a good idea, because if the glue seeped out from underneath the letter, it could cause that template to get permanently glued down to my background. So I kind of switched gears here, and I decided to use the removable adhesive from Creative Memories, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick down all of these letters. Now I wanted to also mention that I lost the footage from the end of this video because my phone ran out of storage, and I didn't notice it until I was finished with the layout. So unfortunately I did lose the end of it. So I went ahead and created a short video where I shared my finished layout as well as some close-ups, and I also talked about an alternative method to keeping the stencil lined up on the background without using any kind of adhesive. And if you're interested in learning more about that, stick around to the end. So when I was selecting the fonts to use for my title, I wanted to make sure that I picked some fonts that had open spaces so that I could back them with some patterned paper, just to make the title more interesting and to give it more color. So I didn't want it to just be navy blue. And the first thing I'm going to do here is to cut some circles and make them slightly bigger than these letters that spell out the word pretty. And I wanted to see some of this pattern paper showing around the edge, as well as showing through to where the letters were. I'm also going to use some of this polka dot pattern paper behind the larger letters in the word mask. And I didn't really have a lot of papers to use because there was really only a few patterns in this theme pack. And I really liked this polka dot paper because it did have a lot of different colors. It was really easy to cut around these because they were rectangles, and so I just had to glue the letter down to the paper and just cut around it. I really love backing cut files, and anytime I have an open cut file like this, I usually like to put some pattern paper behind it. And these letters were super easy to work with because I use rectangles and squares. For the words make and my, I'm going to back them with this green pattern paper. And I really thought that was pretty. It was a more subtle pattern. And so yeah, I think out of the title, the polka dots really stood out the most. And I really wanted to add a lot of focus and attention to the words mask and the word pretty. And so that's kind of why I chose to use the polka dot paper for those words. So to make the words even more of a focus, I decided to pop them up onto some foam tape. And so I did pop up the word mask as well as the word pretty. And I love how that turned out. Although I was going to overlap my picture a little bit on top of the title. And when I popped that up onto foam tape, that did cause me a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do about my picture. And once I take this template off, you're going to see that I don't really have a lot of room for the size of the picture that I wanted to use. So as I was putting down the letters for the word mask, I got a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to get the template off once I glued those letters down. So I decided to go ahead and try to pull up the template. And this is where I realized that I had a problem and that it was peeling up part of my background paper. So I did want to have the guide there to help me with putting these letters down. So I just went ahead and took off the bottom part of the template. And I'm going to go ahead and put the letters down and then remove the top part of the template. That made it a little bit easier to get it off. I did have quite a large spot there at the bottom of the layout right next to the word look, and then also above the eyelashes. Okay, so I finally got my title finished and I'm going to work on my picture. I wanted to find some paper to use as a mat for my picture. And I thought about using the yellow cardstock, but I didn't really like the way that that looked. So I'm going to go ahead and use some white cardstock to mat my picture. I'm also looking at what I have available on the sticker sheet to see if maybe there's something there that I can use to help me to cover up the spots on my layout. And I found this border strip. I decided to put that down there on top of one of the really bad areas down there at the bottom of the layout. And I really liked how that drew the color down to the bottom of my layout because right now most of my color is in the word mask. Alright, so as I'm looking at the picture here and trying to figure out where I'm going to put it, I realized that the picture is really too big. So I went ahead and printed the picture a little bit smaller. I made it 3.5 by 5, and I think that's going to work much better for this layout. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this white cardstock to create a mat for my picture. And I'm using the We Are Memory Keepers layering guides. The 1/8 inch guide is the one I decided to use. And I'm just going to go around all 4 sides with my craft knife to create the mat. I love using these guides, but they can be a little bit of a challenge to learn how to use. So I created a video that I have posted on my channel giving y'all some information and tips on how to use those guides. If you're interested, I will put a link to that video in the description below. Okay, so now that I have my title and my picture, I'm going to start working on my embellishment clusters. And I was looking at the sticker sheet and also this cut apart that was part of this theme pack, trying to figure out what I could use to go on my layout. And I decided to cut this apart, and I'm using the Creative Memories 12-inch paper trimmer. And one of the things I love about this paper trimmer is that it has a transparent guide that goes up and down the track that you can use to visually see where it's going to cut your paper before you actually make your cut. So here I'm trying out several different flare buttons, and I thought about using this one that says out and about, but I don't think that one made it on my layout. I ended up using a different flare button, which I'm going to add later. So I had designed that flare button, the one that says out and about, specifically for this layout, and I matched the colors to the colors in this collection. But I didn't really think that it stood out enough from the background. I really wish I would have used white as a background color on that flare button. But anyway, I can use it probably for another layout later. Okay, so here's where I decided maybe I would add a bow there right in between the two eyelashes. And I really wanted to cover up that spot that was torn, where the paper was torn, but I thought that looked kind of strange there, and I'm still thinking about it, but I'm going to fix it later. Right now, I'm looking at some labels. I wanted to build an embellishment cluster down here on the right-hand corner, and I had this yellow sticker. It came from a Freckled Fawn sticker set, but it says yay on one side of it, and I really didn't think that this layout needed the word yay on it, and so I just flipped it upside down, and I'm going to cut that part off later. I'm just using that sticker, that label sticker, as a base for my cluster. I'm still trying to figure out how to cover up some of the spots on my layout, and I came across these Paige Evans Rub-Ons. They're from the Truly Grateful collection, and I thought the colors went really well with this layout. And so I'm going to cut out some of these and kind of scatter them around the layout. Now, as I was working with these, I didn't realize that they would stick down and stay stuck, like they were coming off so easily. And so I think if you're using rub-ons, you probably need to be a little bit more careful than what I was doing, because I was just putting them on my layout thinking that I could move them around, and that didn't end up happening. So with the butterflies, I was able to pull the butterflies back up in the flower, but that one saying down there at the bottom that says enjoy the moment or something like that, that kind of got stuck there, and so that's where it's going to end up because I can't move it. Okay, so I went ahead and put a yellow flower rub-on right there because there was a spot I was trying to cover up, and I didn't really like the way it came out, and I really wish I would have put that onto some white cardstock and then fussy cut it, because I think that would have looked way better. And then here I'm trying to rub on some little dots or triangles. I was thinking that if I kind of added some different things down there in that spot, that it would kind of cover up some of those places, but it was just peeling the paper off even more. So that didn't really work out too well, and I'd actually just made it worse. So I found this little speech bubble. I'm going to pop that up onto some foam tape, and I'm going to stick it right there next to the title and cover up that spot. So that's going to be one thing that I do on this layout to help with trying to fix the problem with the background. And I actually think that that looked really cute there at the bottom. So I knew that I was going to have a cluster at the top of my layout by the eyelashes and also in the bottom right corner. And I wanted to put something above the picture because there was a lot of blank space there. And I thought about using this card that says love, but it didn't really look right. So I thought, well, I'm going to cut out these letters. And so I went ahead and fussy cut out all of the letters in the word love. And I decided that I would put a tag behind the picture at the top of the picture, and then just put this word love on top of the tag. So that's what I ended up doing. So the next thing that I'm going to try here is to take these eyelashes that came from the template that I created out of the white cardstock, and try to see if I can just add that above the black eyelashes and maybe try to cover up some of those spots just to kind of make it look like an eyelid. And I didn't really end up liking how that looked. And so then I thought, well, let me just take the entire template and I'll just cut off the part that kind of looks like a forehead, and I'll add that above here. And I like that a little bit better, but I still wasn't completely happy with it because I did think it looked just a little strange just for it to be cut off like that and to have the background paper showing above it. So I'm going to leave it for now, but I'm going to come back to it later. I have another idea. Okay, so I tried out one of these tags, and I think that came from a Jen Hadfield collection. It was just a pack of all different tags, and I really didn't like the tag with this layout, so I decided to create a tag using some white cardstock, but I'm going to used the Jen Hadfield tag as a template to create the top of the tag just by lining that up and then cutting it off at the angle there. And so that way I can make my own tag. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue the word love onto my tag. And here's where I ran into my next problem with this layout. So I don't know if y'all see the issue or not, but I glued this word down, and then when I went to punch out my hole for the tag, I didn't have enough room at the top of the tag to use my hole punch. So I can't take the letters off of this tag now, so I'm going to have to figure out some way to salvage this. And I decided to go ahead and just cut the word love off of the tag and then use another color behind it to create a tag. And I really like the way that I ended up doing this because I added yellow to that side of the layout by creating a yellow tag and then layering this love on top of that. So I punched out a little hole enforcer from the pattern paper, and I'm just going to add that to the top of the tag. And then the other thing that was kind of a happy accident was now that the love was not on the tag, I was able to kind of overlap it onto the photo and pop it up onto some foam tape. So I really like how that came out, and I probably would not have done that had I not made the mistake with the first tag that I had created where I glued the letters too close to the top of the tag. So I'm going to start adding some embellishments, and I decided to take a couple of the butterflies and put them on top of the word mask in a couple places. I just thought that looked really cute, and so I was really happy that I decided to put those there. Okay, so now I'm going to work on getting my picture in this tag onto my layout. And I did want to add some twine, so I got out my twine. I have this hanging on a ring on the side of my Rascog cart, and it's just a couple of yards of each color of twine that I have available. And it's really convenient to have them hanging right there next to where I'm working, so I always have them close at hand. I did try out this red and white striped twine, but I didn't like it. I thought it competed too much with the polka dot pattern paper, and so I'm going to use a plain white string instead. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut a piece of that and thread it through the tag and then tie it in a knot. Now, one of the other things that I like to do sometimes on a layout is to take the ends of the string of the twine and just pull them apart so that they looked really messy and frayed at the end. And I just thought that this layout suited that look and feel, and so I went ahead and did that. I just thought that that looked super cute. Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out how to put a flare button onto my layout, and I have another flare button here that says live on the wild side or something like that. And I'm going to just go ahead and grab a glue dot and add that button to my layout. And at first I put it down there at the bottom, but it's not going to stay there. It is going to move up to the top of the layout. Okay, so here's where the creativity happens. I had this idea, like a light bulb going off in my head, that I could make this look like a face. And so I decided to take that short piece that I pulled off of the template and see if I couldn't make it extend off of the top of the page. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just tracing this piece, and then I'm going to cut around it and add it to the top of the layout so that the entire top of the layout from where the eyelashes are up to the top is all white. And I just love the way that turned out. And I probably would never have done that had I not had the problem with the template or the stencil pulling the paper off my background. So sometimes things have a way of working out. So this is where my phone ran out of storage space, so I'm going to jump ahead to the end and show y'all the finished layout. So unfortunately, I did lose a little bit of my video footage. My phone ran out of storage space and I didn't notice it until I had completely finished my layout. So I just thought I'd get back on and share with you the completed layout and also give you some close-ups. And I wanted to mention something and kind of share that with you, is that I really wish instead of using the removable adhesive, I would have done something a little bit differently so that I wouldn't have had all of the problems with tearing my paper and trying to have to cover up places on my layout. And so I wanted to show this to you because I think it's really cool. These are template clips. They come from Creative Memories. You can purchase them separately from Creative Memories. You can also purchase a kit that comes with a pencil that you can use to write on photos and to use to trace around things when you're using the overlays or the templates that Creative Memories sells. But I think these are really cool, and I didn't even think about using these until later. But basically how these work is that you take something you want to use as a template and just line it up where you want it on your project. And then you would slip on these template clips, and they're super firm. You can see how good that stays on. And you can just slide that onto the template and over your paper. And then you can, you know, trace it or, you know, glue things on there or do whatever you need to do. And I think this would be a much better way to try to use the template or the guide that I was using to lay out my title. And I wish I would have thought of doing that when I started this layout, but I'll know for next time. I think I'll give this a try instead next time. But these are really awesome, and it's super, you know, good to use these if you're wanting to hold your paper in place. So I definitely recommend these, and I just wish I would have thought of using them before I decided to try the removable adhesive. I think with the removable adhesive, I was thinking, I've used it a bunch of times before, and you can rub the adhesive and it comes off, and there's no problems with it. And also when you stick things down, usually they come up without ripping the paper. But I've never used it before where I put adhesive on and then put two pieces of paper together like that. And I'm not exactly sure why it decided to rip the paper, or if it, I'm not exactly sure even if that's the paper that it ripped. It could just be that the cheap cardstock that I was using for my template actually came off and stuck to the my background paper. I do know in some places that it did rip the paper. The more I fooled with it, the worse it got, unfortunately. But I think in the end, it came out okay. And unless you look really close at this, you really can't see the places where that paper got stuck or the paper was removed. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I can hold this up so you can kind of see. There's a couple of different places on the layout where it doesn't look, you know, super clean. But I think this layout is so busy anyway that no one is going to notice that, and I'm not going to point it out to anybody. Don't y'all ever find that sometimes when you create something and you make mistakes, as soon as you look at that, your eye is drawn right to those mistakes. But for the most part, if someone is going to look at this layout, they are not going to see the mistakes that I made. They're just going to see the layout and the pictures and the journaling, and no one's going to notice all those little imperfections that you might have on your layout. So I don't think you should worry too much about that. Now, I did try to cover some of it up, the bigger areas where it was more noticeable, and I think that's okay. And I did want to go, I saw this also when I was looking at my editing. So I saw this also when I was editing back my video, that this bow was covering up the words. I just want to move this over. And I think the glue dot just kind of shifted when I was taking pictures. And yeah, I think that looks much better. And also, I think I'm going to go ahead and glue down this word because it's popping up off the page. And yeah, I really like the way that this layout turned out. I think it's super cute, and I'm happy with it. So I definitely want to try making a large title like this again in the future. And let me go ahead and just bring this up, and I'll share with you some close-ups of this layout, and you can kind of get close-up view of the different clusters and things that I did here. Now I think I'm going to create a Cricut tutorial video on how I created this title, so if you're interested in that, please stay tuned to my channel. I should have that up within a few weeks, I think. Don't hold me to that, but I'm going to try to have that video up on my channel within the next few weeks. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. I do have a short video clip of my two dogs, Bella and Lilybell, if you want to stick around for that. And yeah, that's all I have. So y'all take care. Hope you have an awesome week, and I will see you next time. Bye now. Hey girls, what are y'all doing? Is it Christmas treat time? Is it Christmas treat time? Is it time for treats? Grandma got y'all an advent calendar for this year for Christmas. And today is December the 2nd. And Mama forgot all about giving you the Christmas treat yesterday. So you're going to get 2 treats. 2 treats. Isn't that exciting? Are you ready? Okay, let me get the calendar. Okay, so you want to check out your present? Yeah, do you like it? Is it a good present, Miss Bella? She's checking it out. My mom picked that up at Sam's Club. They got one of those last year. Actually, my mom gave them 2, but I only used one of them during the month of December, and then they had another one for the month of January. So I told her if she was to get another one of these, we just needed one for the both of them. Otherwise, that's just too many treats. And Bella's looking at me like, there's no such thing as too many treats, Mama. Y'all just had too many treats. Okay, so you ready to find out what December 1st has in store? So we're going to be opening two of them, December the 1st and December the 2nd. Can you find where it is on the calendar, Miss Bella? Do you know? How about you, Lily Bell? Can you find December 1st? Can you find it? You don't know where it is? You need help? You want me to help you? Okay, I'll help you. All right, y'all ready? Let's see what December 1st has. This is December 1st. It has the penguin. And then December 2nd is down here with the snowman. So let's open the small one first. How about if we open this one? Bella wants to open the 7th. Nope, that's for another time. Ooh, that one treat. I gotta take it because it's only one. I'm either gonna have to cut it in half, or maybe there's gonna be something else in this other one. Hold on just a second. Let's open up door number 1 here with the penguin. See what's in there. Ooh, I can see it's a big treat. Oh my goodness. Ooh, look at that. Okay, let me cut these in half. Hold on a second. Okay, y'all ready for treat number 1? Are you ready? Down. Down. Good job. Okay, leave it. Back up. Can you back up? I have nowhere to put the treat. Back up. Okay, sit. Leave it. Okay. Is it good? I think this advent calendar is really cool because all of the treats are grain-free. And I think it's also made in the USA. And when I was with my mom last year when she got it, I want to say it was like $8, so I think it's a pretty good deal. Let's see what's on the back. And then I'm going to give you the other one. You're checking it out to see if there's more in there. Let's turn it over. So this is everything that's in there. All natural, only 2 ingredients, 95% poultry and beef. And oh, it's made in Germany. It's made in Germany. And that's all the different treats that are in there. Okay, y'all ready for your second treat? Okay. I'll move that out the way. Okay. Down. Down. Bella. Down. Sit. Sit. Bella, sit. Bella, sit. Good job. Okay, leave it. Okay. There they go.